absolutely gorgeous. Oh, stuck. It's hot though. Right, let me go and get the girlies out first. Are you ready to come out, girlies? Come on. Come on. Hey, coming out. Come on. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Come on. How you come, Gorge? How you come, Gorge? Come on. Come on, you two. You're coming out as well. Yeah, you are. You're coming out too. Yeah. Go on, out we go. Out we go. Out we go. Woo! And you. Woo! Come on, out. Play. Play and have fun in the grass. Right, slightly different style of vlog today because it's all going to be done in one day rather than across the week. Yeah, so it's all going to be one day. I've had a bit of a strange week where I've only been able to get up here to do watering and like looking after the chickens. That's all I've been doing. So like coming up, mad dash water of the polytunnel and the greenhouse and anything that's in pots, and obviously sorting the girls out and giving them as much time outside as possible. But it's been a bit of like a racing week. But at the end of it, we've come out with good news. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at the side here because I film on my phone. Eli from Kate and Eli's Kitchen Garden is messaging me on Instagram, so I've just got like all these like messages coming up the side. Hi Eli. What was I saying? Yeah, so come out at the end of it with some fantastic news. Mum's got a date for her operation. She's going in on the 1st of July. She's having the hip replaced. It's brilliant. We could have had to have waited so much longer than that. So it's celebrations all round. I had lunch with Johanna yesterday, which was really nice because I haven't seen her for ages, and it was her birthday last week. Completely forgot to give her a birthday present because I'm just brilliant at that kind of thing. I had it in my handbag. It never came out of my handbag, and I got home and I was like, oh. But it's been a week where I just haven't been able to get up here and spend enough time to do anything, to actually get anything done. And so it is currently Saturday morning, my last chance to film anything. So it's going to be a vlog in one day. I don't know if, so this is going to be vlog 114. I don't know if any of the previous 113 vlogs have been a single day. Normally they go over a couple of days, don't they? At the beginning, obviously, it was every day of the week. Don't know what I was thinking then. Yeah, so this is just going to be a one-day vlog. It's going to be quite a good day. I've got loads to do up here. We're going out for lunch. I've already been to the vet this morning with Annie. Quick update on that. Back at the vets again, hey Dingo? I know, we spent a lot of time here recently, haven't we? Huh? Not much fun being in a box. No. Yeah, so we are just waiting to go in and see the vet. And hopefully she says he's improved and this is the last time we're here for a little while. Hey Pring? That's what we want, isn't it, Dingo? You look so much better, Pring. You do so much better, but I'm still skinny boy. I'm still skinny. Absolutely fantastic. She's really happy with him. She's given him an injection that's going to last a whole month. Yeah, brilliant Dingo. Brilliant Dingo. Yeah, so there was some confusion over Annie's name. Annie is a boy. It's Annie, not like Orphan Annie, but Annie as in short for Anakin. So it's a bit confusing, that. Sorry about that. Me calling him a lovely boy and a fellow and then calling him Annie must have been a little bit confusing. But yeah, so he is on the mend and I can't tell you, I can't tell you how happy I am about that. I really, really thought for a minute there that we were losing him, and nah. Yeah, things are looking up. Mum's got her operation date. Annie's fine. The girls are out at the moment. Millie's still fine. 2 girls are broody, and I've had some questions about what it actually means when I say they've gone broody. So I'm going to talk about that in a bit when I'm going to clean out their house later. But quite a lot to do, actually. I've got things to plant out. We'll have a look at what's going on with the tomatoes. Loads of stuff's coming up, looking really fantastic in the greenhouse, all that stuff that I planted. The beans are up, which is really exciting. I've actually got more tomatoes to sow, which somebody sent me, which is quite exciting. About them, but God, it's just so much to do. Actually, I better not do this because sometimes I record at the beginning. I'm like, right, today I'm going to be doing this, and then I have to edit that bit out because I've only managed to actually do one of them in the day. but I am gonna pick some peas later, I think. Okay, right, let's just get on with it. Okay, let's have a look in the greenhouse. All looking pretty lush. We got some big old leaves coming on these, what are they? The Italian striped courgettes over here, very nice. Minnesota midgets are all up. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Yeah, things are looking pretty good. Although, a bit concerned about the tomatoes. You know how quick tomatoes normally grow? Look at this, 2 weeks, that's all we got. And loads of these nothings come up. There's one. And there's another one in this end bit. But yeah, I'm not wildly impressed. It's quite a lot of stuff that needs to go out. I've got this Sweetcorn here. A chocha desperately needs to go out. And have a look at the beans. Have a look at the beans. So this first tray, looking really, really full. Tray behind, not so great. That's the runners. You see, it's all very well and good doing these vlogs and making notes about what you did the last year. I've only now just remembered that those moonlights were really, really difficult to germinate last year. If I'd actually gone back and looked, I would have sown way more. Okay, well, I'll just get some more in of them. But yeah, last year they were exactly the same. Although the beans themselves, once the ones that did germinate, germinated, really strong growers, fantastic beans, all the rest of it, the actual germinating pants. But just while I was looking in here, I looked at what Eli's messages were that she was sending me. And let's do a weather contrast at the moment between where I am in southwest London and where she is up in Scotland. Yeah, a bit soggy up there. We seem to be swapping weathers at the moment. When we've got the torrential downpour, they've got all the sunshine, and vice versa. Right, so one of the things that I want to do first today, last week I had doing the Sweetcorn on my list and I didn't get it done, so that's the first thing I'm going to do, because Sweetcorn really doesn't like being disturbed. You normally the root trainers that I've grown the beans in, normally I would do Sweetcorn in them because it gives them the really long root and they don't like being disturbed. Ah! So annoying. I don't normally hit my head on it, but when I'm wearing a baseball cap and I can't see it, I just scalp myself every time. Marvellous. Yeah, so the Sweetcorn I would normally plant in the root trainers, or I would do them in toilet rolls is just fine. But I thought I was going to be able to get them out a lot sooner than I have, so I was just I'll just plonk them in pots and turf them out quite early when they're really young so they're not too entangled. But I haven't done it. Obviously this year has thrown up some non-allotmenting surprises that I wasn't expecting, so things haven't gone quite to plan. And the other thing that hasn't gone quite to plan is where I was planning to plant them is basically a bed of weeds that's in here. So let's go in the fruit cage and I'll show you. So I'm planting the Sweetcorn in the fruit cage because it's the best badger protection and the badgers absolutely love Sweetcorn. So currently the raspberries are looking really good, despite everything being covered in weeds. They've really, really enjoyed the amount of rain that we had recently. So they have taken off brilliantly. The grapevine is struggling on fine. It's come back after its very severe haircut. I'm going to have to pin some of these bits and pieces back though, I think. They're starting to come in, so I'll just attach them to the side. Eventually I want it to go sort of all the way around in like a pelmet around the top of the fruit cage, so I'll get that clipped back into there. But yeah, it's under here that all the weeds have just gone crazy. So this is the last of the tree cabbages, the original tree cabbages we had, and you see how quickly it died off. I just let it flower, properly flower, and yeah, it's just gone completely, totally dead. And that's the rule with all of these perennial brassicas, really. If you let them properly flower and set seed, that's the end of them. But despite the weed fest, these are the currants that I planted a couple of months ago. Look, we've got some good fruit coming on there. I'm really pleased, even though they're still really tiny. That's the black currant, and then we've got the red currant on this side, which has also got some fruit on it. Fab. There are masses of these fantastic self-seeded nasturtiums in here, which I will leave. Actually, I won't bother pulling them out with the weeds because they're beautiful. Gooseberries are looking like a mad hedge. I've got to chop a lot of them back. Tons of gooseberries in there though, which is encouraging to see. I know gooseberries are a bit of a divider. Some people absolutely love them and some people think they're just horrific, sour nastiness, but I love them. I love them. Dangling over the top of them, we have the 3 pots of strawberries in the hanging baskets, which are lovely. Lovely bit of grass in there. I'm going to have to sort all of this out too. So fruit cage is my first task of the day. I'm just going to absolutely blitz it. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be enough for me to get the sweet corn in and it not be swamped by weeds. I think the raspberries are going to be fine. They're always a pain to pick anyway, but they've kind of spread into that whole area and I'm just going to leave them. They'll be fine. Gooseberries are doing good. I'm going to leave the nasturtiums, like I say, because they're lovely. And actually, ooh, they're quite beautiful. There's a couple of them. So these are all self-seeded ones. And because of that, you get this whole like mishmash of different colours. Look at that one. Isn't that beautiful? Really pretty. And then there's a really dark one over here. It's like proper red rather than like the normal nasturtium orange. It's like Lucky Dip when they're all mixed up. This is more orange, but look, it's got sort of the dark splash and then like yellow bits in it. Just so sweet. So sweet. This is not sweet. Bindweed. You see, it's all growing up the side of the fruit cage because next door there's just this absolute mass of it just growing over the back there. Really annoying. It's coming up here. I'm going to have to tackle that. I know, darling. They got the serious tools out. Tell you what, mulching really is the gift that keeps on giving. Like, not only does it improve the soil out of sight, it also keeps the moisture in and just makes weeding so much easier because that top surface is so much looser. And as the weed seeds sort of blow in across the allotment, they just land in that, and then you can just pull them out and their roots come out with them and everything. It's not like having to kind of dig down into rock hard concrete soil like normal. Absolutely, it's actually a pleasure to weed. Would you believe that? It's a pleasure. And Millie's enjoying it too. First strawberry. Bindweed really is just a horror. not only does the top half of it just choke everything, but it just spreads through its roots, and any tiny little bit you leave over, like you can see what it's like at the back of here. That's our next door neighbour's plot, and it's just encroaching. I'm going to have to get behind there and do some serious root pulling out behind there, I think. Hey Mills. Yeah, well, that's that main area completely cleared now. I'm going to go down and get the sweet corn, and we'll get it in. Fab. Look at this, right? Keeps the pigeons out, keeps the birds out, keeps the butterflies out, doesn't keep the lily out. How did you get in there, Lil? Is there a hole? Oh dear. So I've got 2 different varieties of sweet corn growing. I've got ones that I planted, and then I've been given some by a woman a couple of plots up from us, which is fantastic. So I'm going to get both of those in. I know a lot of people... Oh, are you right, Mills? Do you think you might want to go back down? I'm actually going to take Millie back down into the house because she's making noises like she might want to lay an egg. So I'm going to take her back down now. Yeah, so there's a lot of controversy about planting different varieties of sweet corn together. It really only makes a difference if it's like a super sweet variety and, say, a popping corn variety, when they're different types of corn. Then it makes a difference. But just different types of super sweet, I've never found it to have any sort of problem. And I do seem to recall last time I explained this with an analogy about me having a baby with Tom Hardy. That was last year, this time last year. So I'm going to plant the 2 next to each other. I'm not going to separate them or anything. Only thing you really need to remember when planting out sweet corn is that you need to plant them in a block rather than a row, as I'm sure you all know, because they're wind pollinated. It gives them the best chance of being fertilised, and then you get beautiful corn. We have sweet corn in. That is one job on my list today. Done. Tick. Now I'm just trying to work out if I've got enough time to do something else before I have to run off for lunch. Ooh. Difficult. I think I probably do. I'm going to plant the achocha. If I can get sweet corn and achocha in this morning, I'll be a happy bunny rabbit. Go and have some lunch. Come back, see what else we can do. It's all go, chaps. It's all go. So these 4 arches along the edge here are going to have the green, purple and yellow French beans, the achocha and the tromboncino on them. So achocha and tromboncino on this arch. But unfortunately, the 2 like patches at the bottom where I want to plant them are not in good shape. They need a lot of compost, they need a lot of weeding. And once again, we've got the bindweed issue. So the achocha is going to go in this side, which is the smaller of the two sides. I'll put the tromboncino in the other. And an achocha is like, well, it comes from South America. You've seen me plant these year on year. This will be the 3rd year I've planted them out. And they're like a little, well, not little really, quite a large pod that you have to scoop out the insides because the seeds are really, really tough and quite a lot like bark chips. But the outside of the pods are like a cucumbery, green, peppery marvellousness. And they're incredibly prolific. I've got 2 little plants here, and that will be enough for us for the whole summer. They produce masses and masses of them, and the plants themselves are so pretty. Another bit of bindweed, fantastic. But they've got these fantastic like corkscrew tendrils. They're really beautiful and they scramble like crazy. You can see this one is actually just starting these little tiny flowers. Yeah, so we shouldn't be too far off actually having a achocha. Okay, on that note, I'm going to go and tidy myself up because that's not a good look for a restaurant. I'm going to go and tidy myself up, head off, have some lunch, and then I will see you back here this afternoon. The parsley flowers are so pretty. No, I'm not going to get distracted. I've got to go. Okay, honeymoon, here we come. I've never been here before, but Suki and Saru, who I'm with, tell me these are the finest dosas you're going to find anywhere around. There's also this little gem, which is a Sri Lankan stout, which I'm trying for the first time. And I can confirm it's absolutely delicious. It's like a slightly sweet Guinness. This is it. Really, really nice. Although I won't be drinking very much of it because look at that. Focus, 8.8%.
It's up there with the nice.
But this is what we're here for, chaps. This is a dosa. Look at that bit of beauty, and here's mine. So it is a really, really super thin, like fermented rice and lentil pancake, but it's like paper thin. And then you got a bit of magical, in my case, potato and chicken inside.
Condiments as well.
Right, okay. Yes, I'm on a mission of not drinking. Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. You want me to order it for you? Sorry? Because you're a lucky man. Ooh, out into the sunshine. Oh, I cannot tell you how good that was. That was absolutely delicious. That was outstanding. I tell you what, we've been sat in that restaurant looking out the window at this place. And I would just like to draw your attention to something quite fantastic. Who puts this on the front of their restaurant? Hold on, let me just get the camera in line. Your final destination. That's more like funeral parlour than restaurant, wouldn't you think? And we're back. It's later than I expected, to be honest. Yeah, I was expecting to be back here by about 3. It's 4:30. Lovely. And they're going to clean you out, haven't I, girls? Or not girls, just Mills, because the other 2 are locked away in here. Hello! Grumpy, grumpy, grumpy. Okay, so like I said earlier, I've had loads of questions about what I actually mean when I keep saying the girls have gone broody. And what that means is that they've got like a hormonal change. They're really, really driven to hatch eggs. So what they want to do is just sit in their nesting box, sit on the eggs, and they're trying to hatch eggs, basically. It's not going to happen for my girls. Doesn't matter how long they sit on them, even if I left eggs with them. We don't have a cockerel. There isn't going to be any chicks. But they don't know that. They don't understand. But they've got this drive to sit on the nest. And what that kind of essentially means as a chicken keeper is that the girls stop laying any eggs of their own, so you're down on your eggs. But they also become really territorial about their nest box, and they get puffed up and really, really grumpy, and they just flat refuse to leave the box, which is fantastic if you're trying to get them to hatch eggs, because you don't want them to get up and just leave and go and have something to eat because the eggs will cool down. But when there's no actual eggs in there, it can be a real problem if they're not coming out and eating and drinking, and you can have problems with mites and all that kind of stuff in the nest because they're just in there constantly. It's normally written that a broody hen will stay broody for 21 days approximately, and then they will kind of snap out of it, because 21 days is the time that it should kind of theoretically take to hatch eggs. However, practical experience, I've never found this to be the case. We had one hen years ago now, but she was there for about 3 months. We couldn't break her from being broody. And what I mean by breaking her is you've got to kind of snap them out of it. People have all these different techniques that they swear by. It's just really, really tricky. At the moment, all I'm doing is kind of maintaining, as in I'm letting them go broody, and I'm just making sure that I kick them out twice a day, make sure they're eating, make sure they're drinking, just to kind of maintain them. Because I'm not up here constantly, one of the ways that we found really helps is that you kick them out of the nest box and then you just don't let them go back in there. But our perch and where they sleep is all in the same box, so I can't kick them out, lock it down, unless I come back up at night and let them back in again. And then obviously there's Mills, who if she wants to go and lay an egg, then she can't get into the nesting box. So it's not really working for us at the moment. There's lots of other ways people swear by. It's like putting frozen vegetables, like a pack of frozen peas or something, in the nest box for them to sit on, because the theory is that you want to bring their core temperature down, and that will snap them out of being broody, because their temperature rises to try and hatch the eggs. So you're trying to kind of bring that down. I didn't find it worked, but I might give it another go if I can't break these girls out of it, because it's not really a problem for us in terms of us losing the amount of eggs that we're getting. I mean, it's annoying, but it's more just the fact that it's not good for them to be sat in the box all day long, because they can end up with problems with mites and stuff. I mean, I'm hyper vigilant about mites because we have had a problem in the past years ago, and it was horrifying because I didn't know anything about them. So I'm really vigilant about mites, but when they're in the nest box all day, the risk of that really increases. So at the moment, I'm just kicking them out, and they're really grumpy, really angry. All they want to do is just sit in there and be cross. So that's what I mean when I say they are broody or grumpy. Yeah. It's one of the things that comes along with having bantams. I mean, all chickens go through these broody patches, and it's kind of a universal rule that when you're trying to hatch eggs, you can't get a hen to go broody, but they will always go when you don't want to hatch eggs. With bantams, they have a much higher propensity to go broody, and that's just something that you have to take with the breed. But they're such a lovely breed, I'm really not that fussed. So I've really just come up for what we're picking for dinner. So more broad beans, that's the first thing, but also peas. I think it's time to pick some peas. So I'm going to pick peas, broad beans and mint, obviously, because nothing goes better with peas and broad beans than mint. So Lily's still here. Aren't you, Lil? She's actually lying on my parsley, which is wonderful. I'm so pleased. So I'm going to start off with that, pick those. I don't have all that long, like I say. I've got to be back by like 5:30, so I'll do that. And I've got a bit of tidying up to do, because when I left earlier, I didn't put any of the tools away. I just left them all out, and the bags of compost and stuff. So I'm going to tidy all of that up. Oh, and I tell you what. So going back to tomatoes. God, I'm rambling. I'm really sorry. Right, I'm going to just refocus. Tomatoes. Yeah, so you know that all of those tomatoes that I sowed, it must have been 2 weeks ago now, that are in the greenhouse, in the pots, like they're just starting to come through. Well, normally, like I was saying, tomatoes are so quick. They like rocket up, and before you know it, you've got a triffid. Don't know what's happening with them, because they are not rocketing up in any way, shape or form. But just to like rub salt in the wound, last week, do you remember that I made mum lunch? We had lunch and it was all homegrown apart from the Parma ham. So we had the asparagus and the broad beans and some red Duke of York potatoes that I dug up. Well, the little tiny pot that I dug them up from was one of the really experimental ones we just stuck in the greenhouse really early in the year. And so I dug that. It wasn't very many potatoes. It wasn't an enormous success, but I kind of piled all the earth back into the pot that they came out of, and there was obviously some tomato seeds in there because they've germinated. And not only have they germinated, but they're whopping. Look at this. Right, so this is the potato. I just put it back in the pot, but there was nothing else growing in this last week. Look at the size of this tomato. What is this? This was not here, I swear. This was not here. This has come up in a week. Well, yeah, a week and a half. This is the size of the ones I intentionally planted 2 weeks ago. This one, small. This one, big. Okay, while I'm in here, I'm going to take these 2 courgettes and put them in the bed with the other courgette that I planted last week. This is Lily on my parsley. Hey, Lil. Not ideal, love. These are little parsleys. Yep, thanks. Yep. Yeah, she's been lying right across the centre, so all the ones in the middle are gone. But some of them are all right. Some of that's a weed. But yeah, they'll be all right. If you stop sitting on them, Lily, it would be much better. Just behind her, the Cavallonero that I covered up with the netting is starting to recover. So that's worked. This is the other courgette. Do you remember I just plonked this Enviromesh box on top of it when I planted it out just for a bit of protection, and also because I didn't have anywhere else to store the box. So I'm just going to take it off because obviously once it starts flowering, Enviromesh, no good because it doesn't let any pollinators through. So I'm just going to take that off and dump that on the bed behind and put the other 2 courgettes in here. Fab. Right, just as I was about to plant these, I just remembered that George didn't give me any courgettes, but he gave me 2 crown prince. So I think what we have here, chaps, is crown prince, not courgettes. And I'm glad I remembered before I planted them, because that's not the bed that the crown prince are going in. The crown prince are going in the compost heap at the end. Right. Let's get them back in the greenhouse. Okay, I'm just going to pick beans and peas. I can cope with that. I know what I'm doing there. Oh, what's going on with my brain? I'm very confidently picking them, but realistically I've got no idea if there is pea moth inside, which is so upsetting when that happens because they look perfect. Doesn't look like there's any pea, is it pea codling moth? Just pea moth? Can't remember, but there would be maggots in there if there was pea moth. Right, are we ready for this? Are you ready? The first taste is the sweetest. Oh. Like peas that you haven't grown your own. If you've never grown your own peas, you don't know what a pea is. My goodness, that was delicious. So we're going to be swinging right now from pea ecstasy with no pea moth and just basically having a sugar rush from the peas, to doom, gloom and disaster, which is right next to them. Sad news to report on the garlic and shallot front. Just have a look at this, chaps. Just have a look at this. Ignoring the weeds, the green stuff you can see in there is all weeds. It's the dying, falling over, yellow, rotten, white rot riddled alliums that we're looking at here. Look at these. They, up until about 3 weeks ago, they were looking absolutely fine, really strong, and now they're gone. So white rot is something that we've got in the soil here. I didn't know it was quite so bad in this bed. What it does, it's a fungus that lives in the soil and it lives there for years. This is the other bed that I had the other garlic in, which I've actually already pulled out. I pulled out at the beginning of the week in a fit of misery. This is them. So this is actually better than what's in that bottom bed. There is some garlic on there. Look, so there is actually a clove in there, but you see how tiny they are? And the whole tops of the plants just completely collapsed, and they've got this kind of white rot. This has been drying in the sun for a while, so the white rot's kind of hardened up, but all that kind of greying around the outside was just mush before. Yeah, you see, like, there's a bit in there. There's something in that one. I'm going to take that. But most of them are like this, just soft, soggy, a really wonderful mixture of allium leaf miner, white rot, black fly, rust. Spectacular. These guys don't have allium leaf miner because we've had the enviromesh over the top, but they've been got by the white rot, which lives in the soil. And I mean, it's a horrible thing. We've got it across the whole plot. I didn't know it was in this bed, but it is. Can you see how that hasn't formed anything? The whole thing is just like slimy on the outside. It's collapsed in the middle, and yeah, it's a goner. It's not going to grow anymore. It's a very sad state of affairs. That is gone. What's interesting though is it affects my garlic and shallots and onions really badly. Mysteriously, I can grow leeks and spring onions without much of a problem, although it's meant to affect the whole family. Not great, not great. I think, I know last year I said I wasn't going to grow garlic again this year because it was pretty much the same story last year. But you know, you're always optimistic in spring, and I think when I start sowing the garlic, when I start talking about garlic next year, can somebody just say just no? Can I trust you to do that for me, please? Because otherwise, the same thing is going to happen. Please stop me. Stop me. Okay, just focus on the peas. The peas were beautiful. Peas and broad beans. Broad beans. Let's go pick broad beans, cheer ourselves up. So sorry about the rather dramatic ending to that with the broad beans. I was still filming quite happily. I hadn't realised that my phone that I film on had actually just run out of space. So although it looked like it was filming, it wasn't actually storing anything. Anyway, cheers. I've poured my beer into my tin mug because the can's been in the water butt and it's a bit dodgy. So it's cheers, tin mug. And I know I said that the whole vlog was going to be done in one day, and it would have been, but it's now Monday afternoon. I edited all day yesterday and then hadn't realised that I hadn't actually recorded any of the ending of the video. So I'm back up here to do a bit of watering. I've also just kicked the girlies out to see if we can kind of, you know, get them out of the whole broody thing and give them a bit of food and water. So they are having a bit of a run round. Mills is very happy. I've got a beer. I'm also actually up here to sow some more tomatoes. Blooming tomatoes, they're a bit of a theme this year, aren't they? And not in a good way. Not because I'm inundated with them, but really kindly, Sherry has sent me some, so thank you Sherry, sent me some short season tomatoes. So if the ones that I'm growing just fail to do anything, these ones should have enough time in the season to actually get something out at the end of it. So cheers for that, I really appreciate it. There will be tomatoes this year, there will. So it's been a great week. Even though I wasn't up here for a lot of it, it has been a good week. Just mum having a date for this operation is incredible. She's going in for all the pre-check stuff next week. So hopefully we're on the way and she will be back here very soon. Because it's not the same, is it? It's not the same. It's not the same for me, it's not the same for you, and it's certainly not the same for her because she's stuck at home. So cheers to her being back in action really, really soon. Can't wait. Also, cat's on the mend, brilliant. Things are looking good here despite the garlic misery. You win some, you lose some, and I consistently lose at garlic. So yeah, please do bear in mind what I said. Stop me next time, honestly. But next week is looking really good. I'm going to be up here a lot early in the week next week. The weather's going to be unbelievable. We've got a heat wave coming. It's going to be like 30 degrees. So I'm probably going to be all one freckle by then. Like they're just all going to join up and it'll just be like a face of a freckle. But yeah, so yeah, fantastic. I'm just going to do a bit of watering, bit of tomato seed sowing now. So as always, chaps, all that's left to say is cheers. Not quite as glamorous as a glass of wine, but you know, glamour's never been my thing. I'll see you next week. Cheers.